Hands Across the Golden Gate, Saturday, May 24th, 1986. It happened because KFOG Radio wanted to be involved in the effort to raise money for the hungry and homeless of America. The route for the national event, Hands Across America, was going to pass Northern California by. There wasn't a way to raise substantial dollars by sending people to Southern California, so the idea of a local event was decided upon. KFOG went to national sponsors, the Coca-Cola Bottling Company, for support, and the idea started to become a reality. Right from the start, many people added their commitment to help make Hands Across the Golden Gate happen. From politicians like Assembly Speaker Willie Brown and John Molinari, to rock stars Marty Balin and Paul Kantner, to cinema stars like Lucasfilm's Darth Vader, to the brass at Coca-Cola, to San Francisco 49ers Ray Wersching and Guy McIntyre. But this was to be a people event. KFOG put the word out that a local fundraising effort was underway. It would take place on the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge in the spirit of Hands Across America. KFOG would do a live broadcast from the site starting at 6 a.m. and finishing up with a set of appropriate hand-holding music, fanfare for the common man, We Are the World, and Hands Across America. By late Friday, the evening before the event, 1,500 people were pre-registered, thanks to the organizational talents of Dave Rhody and RhodyCo Productions, who also coordinated the difficult task of getting all the people on and off the bridge. 1,900 was the minimum number of people that would span the bridge. 3,000 would have been ideal. At 6 a.m. Saturday morning, the broadcast crew was set up and reporting that the weather was absolutely perfect. There'd be no fog or wind that day to discourage participants. And indeed, over 1,000 people showed up that morning in addition to those who had already signed up. 300 of the city's homeless came too. They were given a commemorative t-shirt and were allowed to join in the line free of charge. The feeling was electric. People felt proud of their efforts, and the good mood was obvious in the faces of those who took some time from their Memorial Day weekend to help others less fortunate than they. $25,000 was raised and will be given to the USA for Africa Foundation, the agency charged with dispersing the money to programs for the hungry and homeless in America. KFOG and Coca-Cola gained news coverage in all the local media and mentions in a considerable number of national newscasts and newspapers as well. What follows is some of that coverage.
Good evening, everybody. Topping Nightcast on this Saturday, 10 million hands reaching out to help. Help for the homeless and for the hungry. Tomorrow, those people will join hands in a mammoth fundraising event called Hands Across America, trying to stretch a human chain from New York to Los Angeles. There are a lot of people tonight, though, that are wondering if it really can happen. But the doubters may have been surprised by what happened today here in the Bay Area. Sandra Sticker reports on the hands that crossed one of the world's most famous spans.
The Golden Gate was their destination, but the people who came here this morning didn't come to see the bridge. They came to be one.
We're here because we know that hunger is an important problem in this country, and we want to do what we can to help. You know, we have our own child who's certainly well-fed. We want to help the children that aren't.
Each participant who registered was asked for a $10 donation to fight hunger. Most gave much more.
Do you think there are a lot of hungry people in this country? I know there are. Yeah, there are a lot of hungry people in San Francisco that are living below the poverty levels. I just feel it's important that everybody should help in the community, and this is a worthwhile project. We are the world. We are the children.
Some people came from shelters for the homeless. Others came from wealthy homes. Some faces were familiar, and others were not. But 3,000 people forged a symbolic link between rich and poor today in one of the biggest demonstrations ever held on the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is just an example of what's supposed to happen tomorrow.
This is just a warm-up for the main event. The real Hands Across America starts tomorrow at 3 o'clock. That's when a human chain will link Los Angeles to New York. But you can bet that from sea to shining sea, in spirit anyway, Hands Across America starts here on the Golden Gate Bridge today.
We are the world! That's all I got to say.
I wonder if the president's watching, huh? I hope so.
You know, call for a better day, for a better cause, for any better people. This is great.
We are the ones who make a brighter day, so let's start
And that's when the spirit that spanned the bridge today may span the country. On the Golden Gate Bridge, Sandra Stricker, Channel 5, Eyewitness News, Nightcast.
Good evening. Some people say it's a promotional gimmick that doesn't go to the root of the problem. Others say it will make people more aware and start the ball rolling in the right direction. The president says it's an act of good old-fashioned neighborliness. However it's characterized, Hands Across America will be a first. With the help of some of the most popular stars in show business, the sponsors have captured America's attention and hope that will translate to 5.5 million people joining hands Sunday afternoon in a line that stretches from New York to Los Angeles. The goal is to raise $50 million for America's hungry and homeless, and the preparations are already underway from the Atlantic to the Pacific. In Washington, the platforms are being erected for the ceremony there in support of Hands Across America as volunteers are working on last-minute logistical problems. In Sacramento, volunteers boarded buses today for the Mojave Desert and other parts of the Southwest, where there is still a great shortage of people. And in Southern California, the speakers are being set up for the party that will take place at the Queen Mary once the hands have been joined, about noon our time tomorrow, joined from Battery Park in Manhattan to Long Beach. The line won't pass through the Bay Area, but as Channel 7's Shadow reports, there was a strong show of support for the project today on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Well, Steve Newman and Pete Giddings couldn't have given us a better day for this. I think they did a rain dance or prayed to the sun gods or something. It's a beautiful day and a warm day, a very rare warm day here on the Golden Gate Bridge. It's almost like it was planned that way for the first of its kind event. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Over 2,000 people actually holding hands, fighting hunger here on the Golden Gate Bridge. It's our local contribution to the big national push called Hands Across America, which is taking place across the United States tomorrow. A lot of people in the Bay Area could not get to Southern California for the California link of Hands Across America. So radio station KFOG has put together this marvelous local version called Hands Across the Golden Gate Bridge. And there are many people here. It's a festive atmosphere, and yet they know that they're here for a purpose. They paid their money, and their money will go toward feeding so many of the hungry people that we have right here in America. There's a gentleman I'd like to talk to for just a second. Scoop, where are you? Hi. This is San Francisco news legend Scoop Nisker. Hi, Black. Shadow. Mr. Shadow? Yeah, actually, my nickname is 5 o'clock Shadow.
I see.
Tell me, what do you think about the hunger problem in America? What do you think some of the causes are?
Well, I think it's a matter of distribution of wealth, and it's a matter of the government really being determined to end that problem. I mean, this is the richest country on earth. We kill surplus cattle, we have surplus grain, we have surplus milk. The main question is, why do people have to go out and join their hands to help starving people? That's the question I'm asking today.
Today, in a prelude to Hands Across America, Bay Area residents joined hands in a fundraiser of their own, spanning the Golden Gate. News Center 4's Don Knapp was there, and he files this report.
They'd come out for the best of reasons, to help the homeless and the hungry.
I think it's a good cause, and there's certainly enough hungry people around the country, and holding your hands and standing on the Golden Gate Bridge is probably the least you could do.
For some, just the anticipation of doing it made them feel good.
And I'm so high now, it's such a good feeling to be part of something, which is hunger. And hopefully it won't stop today.
The Hands Across the Bridge event came a day before the much bigger Hands Across America project. A half dozen celebrities and about 24 real people connected in this anti-hunger demonstration.
Okay, that's it. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Everybody's watching.
They reached out and for a few minutes touched hands, and then it was all over. What did they accomplish?
I contributed $10 and my time for a worthy cause, and that's good. It makes me feel good.
What'd you accomplish?
I don't know, but it was a lot of fun, and I was glad to be able to participate. I feel really good. I feel like I did something to help people that, normally you wouldn't be able to do.
For the volunteers, it was a few hours on a Saturday morning. For the organizers, it was a bit more.
We've been working on this for 5 weeks, and I have telephone ear because of this. But now that it's over, I have to say it was worth it to see all these people strung across the bridge.
The events of this weekend are happening because organizers believe 20 million Americans suffer from hunger.
They stood together for an hour or so early this morning, joining hands from one end of the Golden Gate Bridge to the other, and that's 1.7 miles worth of hand-holding. But whether they had big hands or small hands or just had paws instead of hands, they were all there for one reason: to raise money for the hungry and the homeless. Each person paid $10 to stand on the bridge. Those that drove lent their moral support. Hands Across the Bridge is part of a national movement called Hands Across America, which happens tomorrow. That's when more than 5 million people are expected to link hands across 16 states to raise money for the homeless. But the route will extend from the East Coast to Southern California, and people in the Bay Area didn't want to be left out.
Thanks must go to everyone involved with this noble and worthwhile effort. A big thank you to the Coca-Cola Bottling Company of San Francisco and their advertising and promotion manager, Mark Shortman, and his staff. Also, thanks to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors President, John Molinari, for his invaluable help, and thanks to many others too numerous to mention. Finally, a tremendous thank you and a job well done to the people of the San Francisco Bay Area for their belief that getting involved can make a difference. That belief translated into reality on Thursday, July 3rd, 1986 at the KFOG studios as Vice President and General Manager Tony Salvador presented a check for $25,000 to the USA for Africa Foundation.